10 minutes into 9 a.m. in Central African Time. A pleasure to have you tune in to The Journal with Mats Musito until 12 midday. We're broadcasting live from the 7th Radio Broadcast Convention Africa here in Sandton City, or close to Sandton City in South Africa. Thank you very much for being here. We're back after this. We're 11 minutes into 9 a.m. in Central African Time. Thank you very much for staying with us here on The Journal. In fact, we begin the show and you're just in time for us as we come through broadcasting live from the 7th, what is known as the 7th Radio Broadcast Convention Africa. And this is a gathering for broadcasters, for content creators, for those in tech innovation and in media leadership. So as we begin, we look at the radio industry and how it is navigating rapid technological change. And one thing remains clear: great broadcasting is still built on strong community connections. And my first guest as we bring you this broadcast is Bonface Opany, who is station manager at Radio Domus FM. I believe they are just on the outskirts of Nairobi in Kenya, and he joins me live so he can share how his station is responding to change in audience habits, change in the broadcasting landscape, as it were. And a pleasure to welcome him on Channel Africa. Such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All the way from Kenya.
Yeah.
Let's get perspectives from you. I think perhaps looking at the theme for this particular gathering, intelligent radio and audio for the next generation of listeners. Talk to me about what this phase means for you as station manager at Radio Domus.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really happy to be part of this convention at a time when media and the entire industry, the broadcast industry, is facing different challenges with regards to the changes in technology, especially now that people are adapting digital platforms, retooling newsrooms to conform to the changes in technology, and of course also just being able to support the different teams to adapt to the new workflows within the different aspects of broadcasting. So I think this is a timely conversation that was really needed, and the fact that Africa is equally in the race of being part of the early technological adapters, it becomes a very important conversation. So, for example, as to where most of the time we are operating with lean teams, and of course also the other level of financial constraints in managing the newsrooms, then this becomes a very important thing for us to be able to adapt technology in different ways. For example, in optimizing newsroom workflows, of course also automation of repetitive tasks within the newsroom, as well as making sure that our teams leverage the available technology to be able to also diversify revenue streams for purposes of sustainability. I know, for example, in Kenya right now, we are in an era where 70% of the journalists who are going to cover the 2027 elections had not covered election at any point, because all of them are young journalists who are going to cover the elections for the first time. And you see also within the unprecedented era where information is all over, there's issues around disinformation and misinformation. And so these journalists have to be able to be versed with the current technological development, so that they're able to debunk and debunk these sorts of misinformation and disinformation, to ensure that as they report during the elections of 2027, then they report factually and with knowledge.
Right. Yeah. Just on that note around, the innovation and the technology in preparing this next generation of journalists, as you noted, for what's to come, and the preparation for the election is such a fine example. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. I mean, this is now the beast that we've got to deal with in broadcasting. Talk to me about how perhaps your radio station is adapting to AI and preparing these young journalists for how to, use it efficiently, not to replace the work that they're doing, but to use it as a tool.
Yeah, for sure. At Radio Domus, we were very privileged to be part of a training program by the Thomson Reuters Foundation on AI adoption in the newsroom. And for us, we've been able to even develop the guardrails in the usage of AI. So we encourage the journalists to use artificial intelligence as a supporting tool in their day-to-day activities within the newsroom and of course also outside the newsroom. One thing that AI has brought to us is the aspect of collaboration. So we've been able to optimize the collaboration within the newsroom, and journalists are able to work together in doing research. For example, if there's a quick caption that is needed for Facebook, they're able to develop that using AI. And of course, also in terms of development of the cue cards, social media posters for the different programs that we're having, and of course for the different engagements that we have. So far within our journey of AI adoption, we are currently developing a prototype called Safeguard. So Safeguard is like a content moderation tool that is nuanced within the Kenyan context and community media context that we're operating in terms of language and even in terms of the culture that we have. So we are trying to have something that our people can relate with, and we have developed keywords that we're going to feed into Safeguard so that is able to moderate content within the context that we are operating in. Because some of the content moderation tools that we're having, especially on the different digital platforms, are, let's say, they are global north looking. And then there's that aspect of bias that comes in when you try to moderate people who are maybe speaking within a context. Because, you know, in Africa, we have different slangs, we have different languages, and so moderating them then requires something that is contextualized, something that operates within the cultural nuances within our communities. So we agreed that if it is the usage of AI, then there has to be that aspect of human in the loop model, where the decisions are made by human. So the AI can just suggest, but then the final decision lies with the human controller, the editor, the program's controller, or even the continuity announcer.
Okay. That sounds very exciting. In studio, in our makeshift studio in Sandton with Bonface, Opany, station manager at Radio Domus FM out in Kenya. We take a break and return.
Africa World Hour with
to Tundu Lisu for over 15 years. On the night of 20 May, he survived a shocking abduction attempt just meters from his home. Talk us through what exactly happened on that night.
It is something that happened in my head. I expected to meet such situation for several months since the first attempt to abduct me was 6 months ago. There was a car coming very speedy behind me. I let them go. Instead of going, more than 6 people came out of that car and attacked me and they said police. I started fighting back and they handcuffed me. Immediately they started beating me, and one of them was telling me, "You have been running here and there. Now it's your time, it's your day, it's your last day."
Africa World Hour with Mpositole. Catch it on the Channel Africa app, SABC Plus, and on channelafrica.co.za. Weekdays from 9 till 10 p.m. Central African Time. Your life, your rhythm, your Africa. Channel Africa. Find it for free on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Every headline has a human side. The Journal with Matseko Musito on the African Perspective.
We're broadcasting the Journal live from
The African Perspective.
We're broadcasting the Journal live from the 7th Radio Broadcast Convention Africa, and this is a gathering for broadcasters, for content creators, for tech innovators and media leaders from across the African region to gather and explore what the future of audio should sound like, okay, in the present and of course in the future. A pleasure for me to continue conversations with Bonface Opany, who is station manager at Radio Domus FM, and essentially the first segment was about establishing his work and how he is really looking at the broader theme and the context around this particular gathering. Intelligent radio and audio for the next generation of listeners is essentially what we're interrogating, and I'm learning a lot from you in terms of, you know, how to prepare for the future in the now, and the work is still continuing right now. But community radio is still very important in, I mean, it's one of radio's greatest strengths, if we could put it that way. So how do you balance embracing new technology with programming that reflects the voices of the people and the stories of the community, but still progressive in the same breath?
Yeah, for sure. There's that aspect of trust that should be embedded in any form of communication or even in the production of radio. So for us, in order to remain grounded within the context of a community, we are employing a 360 degrees intervention model where we are on air, that is through the terrestrial, the 99.9 FM. Then we are also online on our digital platforms as a complementary function to support cascading information within those communities. And then we have on ground where we are now broadcasting live on location. So we take the radio station to the people, and when they are completely engaged, then the level of ownership, even in terms of the content that is being developed, is achieved. One thing that we've also been able to entrench within the production or within the preparation of contents in our station is the aspect of co-creation. So whenever we go to the ground to speak to our people, we welcome suggestions in terms of what would they want to listen to on the radio, what kind of programs do they want to listen to, and then for us now we come back and tailor it in a professional manner so that they can be able to relate with the kind of content that we are disseminating. So this grounding then also supersedes the usage of even artificial intelligence or even the usage of the digital technology because the community is already aware that their voices are being heard within the station. For example, when we're collecting Vox Pops, we are doing interviews in the community. We go live during football matches within the community. We support community public participation activities, even during the chief barazas. So baraza is like a meeting of the chief or the elders where they discuss issues around community policing. So we go live during such events and make sure that we disseminate this information. One thing that came clear to us again is the fact that even our communities are well versed with the new technology. We were running a program called Digikundi. Digikundi is just digital groups, so where we were debunking fake news in community WhatsApp groups. So we realized that even the community members are aware that they can use the Meta AI to fact check something within the WhatsApp group. But you see now, in order to ground them within whether it's a truth, whether it's a fake news or it's a rumor, then our fact checking desk comes in and supports the community in terms of now debunking if it is a fake news or if it is a rumor. So the co-creation and the use of community trusted people, the community trusted voices. So for example, when you come to the station, you bring on air a doctor that operates in a community dispensary. Then they are able to put a voice to the face that they're always seeing, and whenever they visit the dispensary, they are open to discuss issues with the doctor. So grounding community context in terms of the conversations, in terms of co-creation, and in terms of making sure that communities are part and parcel of the production. Most of us journalists, sometimes we just write for the sake of writing, or we write so that another journalist can read. So we had a conversation and asked ourselves, at what point do we bring in our audience?
Yeah.
Is it at the cooking stage or when we are serving? So those are some of the conversations that we had, and we are still iterating, testing, and experimenting with different forms of technology to be able to just sustain that level of cooperation and coordination within the community.
Wonderful work. I mean, broadcasting at that level as the glue to, the community and the work that's been done, and really showcasing that in progressive ways. Lastly, we established the importance of this gathering, but what do you hope to gain from these types of gatherings, the connections, the meaningful collaborations that are possible post?
True. This is a gathering that is very timely, gathering that all of us who are still working to promote broadcast and, of course, also to expand our networks within the industry, as well as also to learn more about the new innovations, the new technologies that are coming up. So for me, I'm really very intentional, and I hope to get those meaningful connections, collaborations with different teams, with different industry leaders, so that we can further this conversation across the continent and ensure that broadcast remains king.
Broadcast remains king. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful to learn from you and to meet you. All the best with the rest of the event for the next 2 days.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. The voice of Bonface Opany, station manager at Radio Domus FM. They're based in Kenya, 27 minutes past 9 a.m.